I need I'm sorry, if you flip over that sheet, you will see example 1A. Before we move on to the next form, before we move on to ostinato, which is point 2, I want you to look at these melodic samples. Okay, you will see that we have motif in the first measure. But one thing we probably don't want to do, because the congregation will turn their heads and look up and say, what is she or he doing? But I mean, you know, the ultimate would be, you know, Hand Book of Basic Keyboard Exercises, okay? So what we do is we break that. We have to say that we're going to do something different at some point. So, up by skip, down by, up by skip, down by step, a reverse third, and then right down to do. Okay? Now, it's not the most prolific and wonderful melody ever written, but it works because it starts in one place, it goes somewhere, and returns. Okay? This is this is going back to that idea about the cluster, you know. Experiment with melody. The other one is in 6/8. It's a little. I think that implies a slightly different, a slightly different sound. But you have. I can't get into trouble playing these clusters, okay? You're just hearing, it's very background. Soft stops work great. I haven't added anything like, let your ear guide you. All right, you all have the ear, so that's what's going to tell you what's next. The concentration is important, but your ear has to guide you. I need a volunteer to come and play a very, a somewhat simple ostinato. Okay, it's very simple. If you look at example 3, you'll see the one I'm talking about. Okay. Remember, the success of the workshop depends on the participation of the attendees. This is really simple. It won't hurt. No one's going to.
Okay, who's going to break the ice? Do you have a student here?
Did you ask that? Was that a setup? He's done it before. I know he's done it before. So would you like to try this? Oh, well, that's a heck of an excuse. It's all right. I'm going to set something up for Christopher, and Christopher's going to play just what's written for example 3, and we'll do it on general 1. Okay, and I think you can play them both. You can play them both on the. Well, it implies that the bass should be done with the pedal. So, if you don't mind, play the right hand alone in the soprano and play the pedal line, just so they can hear the sequence of this ostinato. No, not that one. This one.
Oh.
We can talk about that one too. All right, so now what are we going to do? It sounds like something else you've heard. Well, it's an ostinato, isn't it? What? Hey, you can use Paco Bell's ostinato, just don't play his notes. Okay. All right, so now that's what he's going to attempt to do. He's going to play. I teach my students improvisation because I really think that it's an important element in that whole process. So I'm teaching Chris to improvise as he learns to play the literature, so that he has an idea about the idea of music beyond the printed page. So you kind of know what the chord structure is, and he's done this quite well before. So you know, just add. You may not want to play it on the grid. You may want to play it on the choir.
Yes.
All right, and just play something else other than what's there.
Okay.
I wouldn't. You're going to overbalance. Why don't we? All right. If you want to do that, go ahead. Now you're all set. To and. So there was a little bit of a break and an idea of suspension and resolution in the middle. Okay? All right.
This is very similar to something Harold Poe does. He makes bets that he can take strangers off the street and within about 15 minutes have them improvising. It's very similar to this, very similar.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically harmonizing just at a major scale.
Right.
And the interesting thing was that I watched him do this with a friend of mine who was not a keyboard player, and he was doing fine. I couldn't do it.
Because you already had all those things locked in place that wouldn't let you. Yeah, that would happen. I can see how that would happen. There are also all kinds of. You've played this one too. So since you're there, this one has. This is an ostinato that gives us a little, but you really have to think constantly about this because it has a certain pattern. Without playing the pedal note, just play that left-hand pattern.
Sorry.
That's okay. You did it. Okay. Now, the idea is to look at the pattern. It's got a rounding out of an A minor chord, and then it's got the sort of a diminished chord on B, and then somewhat going toward either an A minor or the outline of a C major chord, and then back to that same diminished chord. And I put the pedal tone in because we're going to talk about the dominant pedal, the fifth scale degree as the pedal point. This time, just play the ostinato with the E pedal, just one or two times. Okay, now, because that is a moving figure in the left hand, it suggests something sustained with it. Not necessarily a melody, but some sustained notes. And I think what we really should do is change to my good old general D, which is now. If he plays that, it's going to sound more like it's intended. It's supposed to be in the background, okay? And this is not something, I can't think of where in the service you would play this particular pattern. It's just an example, okay? But just, unless it were a performance per se, and you needed something for a performance. Okay, so if you would play that pattern and then all in the choir manual, if you will, and add some harmony in the right hand at your will. Okay, so play the ostinato, get that grounded, and he's got to concentrate on this because he's playing the same pattern over and over while he's going to have to think about something for his right hand. Okay, go ahead.